Hey guys, it's Jackie and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be ranking Sarah Paulson's American Horror Story characters. Now, I only have 7 characters on the list. I know there's at least 2 characters that I didn't put on the list, and that's because they had small screen time or I didn't get far enough into the season to see that character being portrayed by Sarah Paulson. So we're going to start from number 7 and make our way up to number 1, which is my absolute favorite character that she's played in American Horror Story. So for each character, I am going to put a picture up here so you can see who the character is. So with all that being said, let's jump right into the video. So coming in at number 7 at the bottom of my list is Ali Mayfair from American Horror Story Cult, which is season 7, I believe. And I didn't watch much of this season, which is why she's ranked so low. Ali Mayfair is a liberal, and she is terrified that Trump is going to win the election for that year. And on top of that, she has so many crippling fears, like so many phobias that I don't even remember what they are all called. I'll probably put a list of them on the bottom here so you guys can see. But it was very interesting to know that the fears that Ali Mayfair had were actually the same as the fears that Sarah Paulson had in real life. Sort of like the fear of like clusters of like holes and stuff, like a beehive. Yeah, those were real phobias that Sarah Paulson had. So it was nice to see her act through those real fears. So next on the list, I have Shelby Miller from season 6, American Horror Story Roanoke. Now, again, I did not watch this season in its entirety, but from what I saw, Shelby was really fun to watch, and I just really enjoyed the few episodes that I did watch of Roanoke. Even though I know this is not the most popular season of American Horror Story, I actually think it's better than Hotel or Cult. But I can't say much about this character because I didn't watch much of the season. But I can say that Shelby Miller is a tough woman. And yeah, I just really enjoyed watching Sarah Paulson portray this character. And it's funny because she's portraying a character from someone else's real life. So Shelby Miller is the actual name of the person who actually went to Roanoke. And Sarah Paulson's character, Shelby Miller, ends up having a different name, which would be her actual name and not her character name, because in this season, they are actually shooting a documentary about what happened in Roanoke, and things become real very quickly, but I still enjoyed this season. The next character I have is Mrs. Venable, which is from season 8, American Horror Story Apocalypse. Now, she was only in 3 episodes, but I, for some reason, loved seeing her because she was sort of the villain for the beginning of this season, and it was just a nice change of pace to see Sarah Paulson play this character. Now, again, she was only in 3 episodes, but I think for those 3 episodes, she was just brilliant. So season 8, Miss Venable is the leader of the last outpost after the apocalypse, and she's very strict and has all of these rules. It turns out these rules are made up, and the corporation, as we later find out, is just one person, doesn't actually care what these people do because they just want them for a different reason. So yeah, Miss Venable, even though she was only in 3 episodes, I just really think this was a fun character to watch. Moving on with my list, I have Bette and Dot. Now, Bette and Dot are the conjoined twins that Sarah Paulson played in American Horror Story Season 4 Freak Show. Now, this character is ranked at number 4, and it's ranked pretty high on my list simply because Sarah Paulson had to actually play both of these characters. So she would film one part for Bette and then one part for Dot, and it's just incredible how amazing it came out and how well she did portraying these 2 different characters. Bette is very innocent, idealistic, sees all the good in everything, and Dot is very cynical and very pessimistic and just not the happiest person. So it was very cool to see Sarah Paulson having to play these 2 sort of polar opposite characters and still have them be one person. And I really love this season as a whole. It was one of the spookiest seasons since it actually scared me a little bit, especially Twisty the Clown. I'm going to put a picture of Twisty here, and yeah, he was definitely freaky. So next on my list, I have Lana Winters, who is a reporter, and we first see her in season 2 of American Horror Story Asylum, but she also is a recurring character that we also see in season 6 of American Horror Story Roanoke. Now in Asylum, she is a reporter who is trying to dig out the secrets of the Briarcliff Manor, and in doing so she actually gets admitted to the asylum, and they do horrible things to her while she is there. But when she does finally escape, she is able to expose their secrets. In her book, which she writes, that I can't remember the name of right now, but I will put the title here and a picture of the book here. And yeah, she's just an awesome character to watch, and Sarah Paulson does so well playing her as this reporter who's like hungry for the story. Moving on, we have Billie Dean. Now Billie Dean is a recurring character as well, and we see her for the first time in Murder House. I believe we see her for a brief moment in Hotel as well as Apocalypse. Now Billie Dean, as I mentioned, is a medium, and when we see her in Murder House and she's introduced, she is actually one of the few that can see the dead of the house and knows the history behind the murder house. So Billie Dean actually tries to help Violet after she starts to fall in love with Tate, who is at this point already dead, and she tries to help Tate figure out why he's so angry. So it's always fun to see Billie Dean sort of creep out and do her medium stuff. Now there's definitely a debate on whether Billie Dean is a real medium or just a fake, you know, performer medium, but I think she's sort of towing the line. So I hope we see Billie Dean in future seasons. Moving on to number 1 on my list is Cordelia Good. Cordelia Good is introduced to us in season 3 of American Horror Story Coven, and we do see her in season 8 of American Horror Story Apocalypse. When we see Cordelia Good in season 3 Coven, she is actually the daughter of the Supreme Witch Fiona Good, who is played by Jessica Lange. So she's sort of being bullied by her mother, the Supreme, in this coven, and she actually loses her sight, and when she loses her sight, she actually gains the gift of sight, so she would touch somebody and she'd be able to see glimpses of the future or what would happen to them. Now for every coven there is a Supreme, but when a new Supreme comes into the coven, they don't know exactly who the next Supreme is going to be, but the present Supreme starts to lose their power and get old, and Fiona does not want to stop being the Supreme because she likes her power, so she believes it's one of the girls from the Coven, and it turns out to be that Cordelia is the next Supreme. The next time that we see Cordelia Good is in season 8 of American Horror Story Apocalypse. In this season, Cordelia Good is actually trying to save the people at the outpost from the Antichrist Michael Lang, who is actually the first male witch or warlock to become the Alpha. Now the Alpha is said to be stronger than the Supreme, which would have been Cordelia, but throughout the season we see Cordelia losing her power, which means there is another Supreme on the rise, and we find out that Supreme is Mallory, who is played by Billie Lourd. And yeah, this season was actually one of my favorite seasons. If you're a fan of the American Horror Story show, you'll know that in season 9 American Horror Story 1984, Sarah Paulson was not actually in this season, but I'm hoping that for the next few seasons Sarah Paulson will at some point return along with Jessica Lange. These two women, along with Evan Peters, are really the heart of the show. I think they were the best parts of the show, and even though I really enjoyed season 9 of American Horror Story, there was still something missing, and I think it was just the fact that Sarah Paulson was not in the season. Okay, you guys, so that was my ranking for Sarah Paulson's characters in American Horror Story. Let me know down below which character you enjoy from American Horror Story played by Sarah Paulson. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and see you next time. Bye, stay geeky.